Okay, I think it's a good time to get started as we have 1 hour. So, a very good afternoon to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well. So, on behalf of Brick Academy and Adam at Next, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar on a spectacular Saturday afternoon. First of all, this is a very special webinar. We are going to cover a topic that is a buzz right now in pharma on the artificial intelligence. And I would like to congratulate each one of you for taking your precious time out on weekend. And that reflects that how dedicated and curious you are for learning and upskilling. And anyway, we are going to have a very heated Champions Trophy tomorrow. So that's gonna balance out this weekend. So I'm very privileged to see that apart from students from various universities, we have a lot of working professionals, both from core pharma and the consulting organization joining this webinar. So welcome you all. And this gives me an opportunity to also introduce you all briefly about Adamet Next and Brick Academy. So Adamet Next, as many of you know, we are a strategic advisory firm working with life sciences companies in areas such as competitive readiness solutions, forecasting and analytics, market research, HUR pricing, and market access, where I am leading and I'm responsible for that part. And Brick Academy is an educational initiative by Adamet Next focusing on empowering pharma professionals, pharma community with industry insights, bringing a great experts like Aparna, who is having with us today, and making sure that the pharma community is upskilling, and also we are giving tips to accelerate their career progression. As a part of Brick Academy, we keep on hosting these webinars, which are live webinars. And recently, we have also started a YouTube podcast series titled as Candid Conversations with Industry Experts. So if you guys didn't get a chance to check it out, please do that. And in order to stay updated with all the Brick updates, I'm just putting links to our LinkedIn page and YouTube channel in the chat. Please show your encouragement. It would act as a motivation to have you subscribing our LinkedIn page and YouTube channel both. And soon we will be also be launching a CI course. So anybody who wants to initiate a career in CI or want to transition your career into CI, this course is going to be helpful. The more details about the CI course we'll be putting on our LinkedIn page. Now we are hosting this webinar on Zoom platform. So some of the Zoom etiquettes to follow. Uh, you can see a symbol called raise hand, right? So whenever if I'm asking question and I'm seeking your response, please raise hand. You all are muted right now, but during this entire webinar, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. We have a dedicated Q&A round at the end, and my team, Vartika and Kalyani, they are monitoring the chat box, and we will be picking up all as many as questions with Aparna at the end of the webinar. Having said that, now let me give you a brief outline of the webinar. So we'll starting with the introduction, which we are covering right now, followed by Aparna will take through the topic for next 25 minutes. Then we have a little bit of fun element. So I'll be having a rapid fire round with Aparna, bursting a lot of myths about AI and keeping the engagement moment and fun in the webinar. And last but not the least, we'll have a Q&A at the end. So let me start just to make sure that to make things little more interactive. How many of you, and can I have raise of hands, how many of you followed the Paris AI Summit and were able to listen to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech on AI? Can I have raise of hands on Zoom, please? Okay. Okay, very nice. And a follow-up question would be, how many of you believe that AI is going to create more opportunities rather than taking opportunities away? Okay, very nice to see that we are having people with a lot of positive attitude about AI. So that's a great way to get started. And if a brief about me as well. So I'm Mihir Pujara. I have 12 years of experience in pharmaceutical industry and have worked previously with organizations like Novartis, Kynaps, Cipla, and Glenmark. Without further ado, I am extremely privileged to have with us Aparna. Aparna and I passed out from Naipur Mohali in 2012. And Aparna then had a humble beginning with IQVIA. Then Aparna joined Novartis as a part of a forecasting team. And then as a traditional career journey, she moved to insights and analytics. But after that, what's the most interesting part is the way she transitioned her career into data science and AI without having a formal sort of a programming or IT sort of a background. So, apart from listening to the topic itself, I am curious to know, Aparna, that how you made this transition happen and how you did it so successfully. Apart from that, Aparna is very passionate about what she does. She is a thought leader in AI space. She speaks as multiple forums. Her LinkedIn posts are awe-inspiring. So, if you guys haven't followed it, please do read it out. It's really great. And if I have to summarize Aparna's journey with a quote, I would say that a ship is safe at its harbor, but that is not what a ship is built for. So, with that, let me invite Aparna with a huge round of applause. And Aparna, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Mihir. So thank you so much for all the credentials, and I feel so humbled. But yeah, I think we all at some where share the same connection, and also challenging ourselves, and it's example of what you can achieve when you challenge yourself, I guess. And yes, so maybe I'll start with with a brief on the interesting switch that I made, and then we can get jump right into the webinar. So yeah, actually I believe that people are either moved by love or fear. So when I was in analytics, data and analytics insights, I was doing really well with my career, and I was then ready for my next move, and that is when I was exploring opportunities and even outside opportunities, though. Always you have to keep a benchmark of where you stand, so that is why I was also exploring opportunities just to get a sense of where I stand. And that is when I got the shock of my life that analytics that I do, forecasting that I do, is very industry specific, pharma specific, and the way the world sees analytics is very different. So for them, even if you are applying for a business analyst and any kind of analytics job, they also expect that you know Python apart from just Excel. So whatever I was doing was advanced Excel, VBA and all of it, but never into programming. So that is when it was a realization for me that yes, if I continue this way, then I'll be just one among the crowd, and I didn't want to be one among the crowd. And that is where I wanted to differentiate, or even not just one among crowd, but if you have to really make the next move and progress, I felt the skills that I had at that point of time were redundant. So that is when I started teaching myself programming. And luckily in Novartis there was a huge boom in data and digital, go big on data and digital. I think Mihir, you were also in Novartis at that point of time. So I took the advantage of everything that was being offered in Novartis. So I started upskilling on Coursera. I have done several courses, and luckily for me, I also got enrolled and got sponsored for a master's degree in AI from University, data science and AI from University of Michigan. So that is how it transitioned. But even after the master's degree, it's not that everything is served on your plate. It was quite an arduous journey, to be frank. So you create your own opportunities. So I was thinking about how I can do the same work that I was doing in a different way using AI. So that is what helped me to create my own opportunities and then grow my visibility. And it's not always an easy journey, but maybe more on that at some point time later. If I keep talking about my journey, this webinar would be just filled with my journey. So I'll jump to the slides. Let me know when you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
No, Aparna, not yet.
Okay, 1 second.
Yes, I can see it now.
Yeah, great. Let me move this away. Great. So, yeah, I think this is an interesting time we are living in. As I said, when I transitioned into AI, it was very difficult job for me to explain why AI is important and why you should be investing in AI. And it was always a push mechanism. But for the first time in my career, I enjoy being in this space because now I have to push back all the requests saying that, okay, this we have our roadmap now finalized, and anything beyond this would only be served in next 6 months. So it is very good to see the transition, and there is a story behind this transition on why this is happening. That if you see the foundations of AI, it took 50 years just to lay the foundation. And I don't know if you know Alan Turing. He's a very good, I don't know if you know the movie Imitation Game. It's worth watching. So he was the one who said, okay, for machines, the right test for machines is that if I'm not able to tell whatever output I'm seeing, is it generated by machine or by a human, that is when I would know that the machines have reached AGI, that we call artificial general intelligence. So that is the foundation. Alan Turing laid those foundations, and this is called Turing test. And after 47 years, IBM, there were small progresses. I'm only highlighting the key milestones. IBM came up with Deep Blue, and it took the news media by a storm because it actually has defeated the brightest chess champion through Deep Blue, a program called Deep Blue. And then moving on to the next 2 decades, that is where the real foundation for AI was laid down. Like the first deep learning models came into existence, and generative adversarial networks, which are the foundations for chat GPT, which is generative AI, right? So the generative is taken from generative adversarial neural networks. And the most important transformation, if you asked, we should all be thankful to Google, who has changed everything for us by transform models through a paper called Attention is All You Need. So I hope you are paying attention. So even for this, I think attention is all you need. I'm very sure you'll take away some nuggets of wisdom after this webinar. So what happened is, earlier we used to the models used to pay attention only to very limited word set. So for example, I am working as a AI professional in Novartis. So it would only focus on I am working, for example. So the context window is very small. But the Google Transformer model, what it has done is, if I give the entire bio, it will remember even my first sentence, that I am a working professional in AI. So it will know that I am in AI, and anything that follows the context, it is able to link to that. So that is what Google has done. So it has actually expanded the context window, so that the responses that we get out of our chatbots today, even if you see the multi-turn conversations, that is, when you give 5 6 messages to chat GPT or any other chatbot, it will remember even your first message and respond accordingly. So that is what Google has contributed to this in revolution. And then I don't think so I need to present to what happened after 2020. We all know ChatGPT has made AI so accessible that now we have democratization of AI. And So the adoption of AI just between 2023 and 24 has doubled. From 65% of the global companies are using generative AI compared to 33 or 34%, 33% in 2023. So that shows how quickly it has taken the world by storm. And even if you see on LinkedIn or follow any of the AI channels, you see announcement every single day happening. Grok 3 is released, DeepSeek, the crash, the market crash that has happened. So there is a lot of buzz, and I think that's the reason we have nearly 75 participants in this webinar as well. So I would like to close this slide with one thought, that there are decades when nothing happens, and there are weeks when decades happen. I think we are in those weeks or even days where we are making decades progress, and thanks to Google's transformer models for that. Now, moving on, we have just seen how long AI has come. Let us visualize that in action. Let me know if you are able to hear the audio.
Yes, I can, Aparna. Please go ahead.
I think you get a sense. Just today morning, I was reading one article where AI also could. So this is all fun, right? So, and you can also, there is one software where you can actually take one character and you record one video without that character, and you just pop up that character, and that character will be moving with you. So you can reimagine you going to a museum, right? You will be given a VR headset, and all of this historical figures will be walking with you, will be giving a tour of the museum. So that is how actually hyper realistic creatures we are able to create through AI. So that is the fun part. But one interesting story that I read on the batch newsletter, I would highly recommend you also subscribe to this batch newsletter available on deeplearning.ai. Is that now AI is also able to save human lives. So it so happened that in usually when a fire alarm comes in in US, sometimes, most times it is false alarm. So they devised a mechanism where these drones with AI capabilities will go to that location, take some photos, and based on AI predictions, it will say, okay, a help is needed or it's a false alarm. So one such false alarm was triggered, and the drone could capture all of the insights and transfer in real time that, okay, no need of attending this request, and it was coming back to its station. And then while it was coming back to its station, it was instructed, okay, we have sent someone to a different location, a police to some different location, and we are not able to trace him because his phone is not reachable, his walkie is not reachable, all communication lines have been cut. So this drone could go to the last location that was traced, and it was able to take photos, and that police was really in a danger because he was trying to capture someone who has violated the law, and he was attacking, and within seconds, not just minutes, within 45 seconds, the team could go there and save that police, and thanks to AI. So it all depends on how you want to use AI. You can use it to harm, for example, these videos, right? You can create my persona avatar and make me say something that I don't want to say. So that is misuse of AI. But if you use it in the right way, you could also bring historic figures to life, and also save people's lives. The option, the choice is really yours on how you want to use AI. And now, what is AI? I think we all know what is AI. It's put very simply, it learns from the data, it learns from the patterns, trends, and make predictions based on these patterns on what is the next plausible thing that would happen, or what decisions you could take based on all the data that it has looked at. And why this matters is that, according to McKinsey, we have, within just pharma, it is a 60 to 110 billion opportunity that we can unlock within commercial research and early development, clinical development, enterprise, and operations and medical. So I think it's a huge opportunity that we are sitting in. I think this is the number for expected value in 2030. So all the major pharma organizations are going after this uh, multi-billion opportunity. Then moving on, just a quick overview on where you can apply AI in pharma. It actually cuts across. I will not be doing justice, but this is a very quick summary. If I have to put everything, I don't think so we'll have enough time or slides to put everything. So majorly we are using the high impact use cases that we see in pharma are coming from drug discovery, followed by commercial and marketing, and then clinical trials and operations, and then integrated digital capabilities. These could be in any of the functions. The integrated digital capabilities can be in can be in operations, R&D, even. So I recently transitioned to HR. So even in HR we have multitude of use cases where AI is making an impact, right from productivity gains to advanced use cases like assisting in selection of candidates. Though we are not doing this currently, but it is possible. But we can also do other use cases like job interview questions design, and several other use cases in HR. But coming back to drug discovery, I'll go to the next slide to explain this in detail. So there are three major areas that pharma companies are tapping. That is target identification and validation. So I think most of you are from pharma background. You know how difficult it is get one molecule to the market, right? So you need the famous saying in pharma is that you need to invest in R&D of 10,000 molecules for one more molecule to make it to the market. But now things are changing. You can actually simulate all of this target identification, protein structures, binding of drug targets, and protein structures and body, to see which drugs substances make sense to invest in. And then it cuts down the target identification by quite a large substance, I mean quite a large percentage. I don't have it on hand, but I'll share some resources where you can find information about this. One example is AstraZeneca and Benevolent AI. This collaboration started even before the advances in AI, the recent advances in AI, somewhere in 2019-20. And they did actually file three molecules, AstraZeneca, through this collaboration, where they have simulated and identified new drug targets. And then the other area is GenChem, where we have generative AI models to create novel molecular substances by combining different molecular structures, chemical structures, mRNAs and antibodies. And again, Google here with its AlphaFold and now AlphaFold 2 has actually changed the trajectory of how the molecular research is happening. And then, as I've mentioned, time and cost savings, at least 25 to 50% is the cost savings that we are seeing in R&D, according to a BCG article. So I'll share all of the articles that support these facts, and we'll do a fun exercise as well towards the end. Moving on, in commercial, what we see is we see most of the use cases are to do with content generation, content tagging, content creation, and content optimization, and then pushing this content through omni-channel uh, strategy, and also optimizing that strategy using AI on what is the ROI for each of these channels, and what are the mapping those with physician preferences, and precision targeting of physicians through their preferred channels is what we see. And then we are also integrating, as I've said, back end data like the click through rates, what content gets opened frequently, what content gets most of the views, is this physician preferring video content versus audio content versus email content, on how frequently. All of this is where we are investing in AI. And then so we have seen two major areas, R&D and commercial. There are so many other areas, but I would just touch on the top areas. And now we'll transition into, okay, we have seen where organizations can tap value, but how are organizations making use of this? So there are four things that they are majorly doing. And this is something that I have seen in Novartis also: focused investments. We have divested Alcon, Sandoz. We are now a focused medicines company, and we are actively investing in only oncology and few other areas. So you can see that companies are going from diversification to focused investments in concentrated therapeutic areas, and going deep in research in those areas. And AI is helping to unlock new patterns, new chemical moieties in these focus areas. So that is what we cover in new use cases as well. So we are also expanding, as I've said. Traditionally, this was restricted only to R&D and commercial. Now, what we do is we have a both centralized and hybrid models. We have a central AI strategy office that looks into the priority use cases which are more R&D and commercial focus. But we also have hybrid approach of decentralized approach. So I lead the AI efforts in PNO, that is HR. Someone leads AI efforts in legal. Someone leads AI efforts in operations. So we do have this decentralized approach as well, along with the centralized approach. So we take a hybrid model now. In the new use cases, I have touched upon few of the HR use cases, but we are also doing uh, digital transformation, 360 customer feedback, 360 HCP view, and anything 360 we are doing. We are seeing it will take us more and more towards the personalization. And then the competitive differentiation comes from concentrated efforts in few therapeutic areas that I have already t- uh, touched upon, like oncology, immunology. So few companies are, many of the pharma giants are focusing on only few therapeutic areas and going deep, and using AI to go deep into these areas. So we have looked at all of how it is touching pharma and all of it. Right now, we should turn the tables and say, so this is the question I get asked very often, that okay, I know that AI is important, I know how is AI transforming pharma, I also know what's happening around me, but I don't know where to start. This is a common scenario, and everyone starts here. You are no exception. I have started at the same place. But I one thing that really helped me, that I didn't share it in my journey, but I reserved to this, is that when I was making to this transition to AI, I made sure that I was prepared mentally, that I would take 2-3 years a backseat in my career. So how I thought about it is that okay, I have had a phenomenal career. I had always been promoted on right time and all of it. Now it is a time for me to invest in myself, and with this investment, I might need to start again. I might need to restart or go one level down, or that is what I have really mentally prepared. I went into, actually, I clearly remember I went into a room with one of my close friends, and we mapped all of the scenarios, best to worst. And worst scenario, we went and mapped out that okay, I will go 2-3 years backward in my career, and I was mentally prepared that I am able to. That I want to take this risk. So that is how I mentally prepared. But in this age, that is not needed. AI will be so natural that everyone will start with the AI first mindset, growth mindset, and learn first approach. uh, but whatever wanted to touch is, it is all in our minds on how to start with this and start experimenting. And how can you do that? You can start upskilling with AI focused learning. The upskilling need not be that you do go and do certification after certification after certification. I can share some guides on this, but the best way of learning or upskilling, I feel, is take a problem in your business area and solve it, try to solve it. So when you do it traditionally, just think, can I use AI in this? It might be just, for example, you have to do a research and write a report on this research. I'll show you some techniques on how you can quickly generate some insights in your research. So you can upload these documents if they're not confidential, and if your company has a co-pilot, you can upload all of these documents and start with first insights. So that is where you uh, push yourself to do everything that you do, even generating email, writing an email, generating notes, to actually uh, having difficult conversations with your manager. For everything you can start with AI. And yes, your experience comes into play where you are able to make the judgment of whether it is making sense, AI is making sense. That is why we always say human in loop, human in loop. But I felt experimentation is the best way of learning. And then you should you already have taken this step. I need not mention this, but whatever you are doing currently, like join this webinar or any other webinars, I think you should be able to go and connect with people, follow people who you are interested on LinkedIn, follow their journey. It need not be just me. So there are few people that you can already follow, the AI gurus. I'll leave the names in chat box also, but Andrew NJ, Andrich Kapardi, Steve Nouri, these three people are actually making waves, and they share their insights very freely. So deeplearning.ai is from Andrew NJ, and he was the founder of Coursera, and all of the courses on deeplearning.ai are for free. So you can start with something like generative AI for everyone as well. And then once you do all of this, experiment correct, you also have to do a reflection exercise. Once you have done 1 month of this or 2 weeks of this, see how you are progressing, how differently you are doing work when compared to with AI and without AI. And you should also be able to celebrate small wins, share it with your colleagues that did you know that I have done this this way, and I have explored this, and this is the success I've got, and these are my learnings, and they will do the same. So build that community of like-mindedness, like-minded people, and keep sharing your learnings with them. That's the best way of learning. Now you have heard so much from me. We'll quickly see what NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has to say. We will watch this directly on YouTube. I kept it ready for you.
As I mentioned earlier, in 2016, I built the first one for AI researchers, and we delivered the first one to OpenAI. And Elon was there to receive it. And this, for example, if I were a student today, the first thing I would do is to learn AI. How do I learn to interact with ChatGPT? How do I learn to interact with Gemini Pro? And how do I learn to interact with Grok? And these learning how to interact with AI is not unlike being someone who is really good at asking questions. You're incredibly good at asking questions, and prompting AI is very, very similar. You can't just randomly ask a bunch of questions, and so asking AI to be an assistant to you requires some expertise and artistry in how to prompt it. And so if I
Heard it from the great. You can listen to the entire podcast. This is his interview, and you can. I'll share the link shortly after this presentation as well. Then I'll quickly jump, or we can start the journey right away. I'll make you learn right in this here in this moment, and how to start your journey. Vartika will be sharing several articles. So for my talk, this talk, I have actually invested some time and read all of the recent research. So all of this research, you could find it in the sources. We'll give you all of this research, but if you see, there are 10 page, 20 page, 40-page articles. And traditionally you would open these articles, just go through them and skim quickly, and whatever you like, you might have to do a second read. But now with AI, how would I do it, is what I wanted to show you. So there is something called notebook LM. I don't know if you are aware about this. You can just type notebook.lm. It is from Google, and you can just open this. And what you can do is, you can try this for free actually. So you can try notebook. I already have created several notebooks, but I'll do this again for the benefit of everyone. So I'll add sources. So you can either directly link your document, slides, and even YouTube video. So the YouTube video that we have seen, you can experiment this as well. Okay. You can copy this link and then just say YouTube, paste URL, and then it will glean all the insights from this, and you can interact in an interactive way. But for the purposes of this demo, I'll do it in a different way. So you just say insert, and it will create all the chatbot, notes, podcast for you. We'll see all of that in a moment, and maybe we can come back to this. So for the purposes of demo, what I'll do is I'll upload all these files that I have collected as a research. I'll just skip this video for now. So I have nearly 7 articles. I'll upload these, and you will see that as I'm talking, it will generate a chatbot for me. It'll automatically, without any prompting, without me doing anything, it'll give me a title that after reading these articles, it'll give me a brief description what this chatbot is about, and it'll also give me, for example, once this is generated, okay, now all the resources are uploaded. You can start typing the questions as well. So since we are on short of time, I have already done this. So what I'll do is I'll share what has been already generated. So I've done exactly similar thing. So it has given me a brief description, and then what I see is, what is this about, is what I can see. You can prepare audio overview, and it will also generate some pre-designed questions for you. How should biopharma companies strategize digital investments? Let us ask these questions to maximize ROI considering team structure. So it'll read into all of these articles and actually present this information in a very beautiful way with all the references, links, resources. Yeah, remember that I haven't done anything. I just uploaded the documents, and it created its own questions. It created a very nice references document. And what else you could be doing? You could also be generating a podcast. For example, this is how you do it: generate, and it'll create a podcast for you. I'm not doing it because it'll take at least 2-3 minutes to generate that podcast. And then you can also do study guide. I'll actually click on this. So a briefing document will will look into all of this articles, and will give you a very good notes on, so biopharma trends, digital transformation, what is the executive summary. Remember, I haven't asked anything like prompting, give me executive summary, key themes. I haven't asked anything, but just with the click of the button, it will give you key themes, ideas, and revenue and cost pressure, and several other topics. How is digital transformation is happening, AI in drug discovery, all that we have seen just through some clicks of buttons. So you can also ask, can you pull some interesting facts that I can present in my webinar? So we are done with this question. So it will pull some interesting facts as well. And you can also always go back to studio and play the podcast as well. So this is how easy it is becoming for you to explore AI. AI has become so accessible that if not in this age, I don't know how easy it would be in the past 10 years. But in next 10 years, I feel if we are not, we'll be using AI so naturally. Actually, my daughter is 8 years old. I'm stopping sharing my screen. And she takes to AI so naturally. She says, Chat GPT auntie, can you explain this? Gemini uncle, why do we have a prime minister when we have why do we have a president when we have a prime minister? So the next generation will naturally easily take to AI, but it is our generation who has to put in some efforts and have that learning curve, fall and rise. So you have to just spend some time with AI and you can do so many cool things.
Super. Thank you so much, Apana. Phenomenal. I think you took out not only time for the presentation, but went above and beyond in terms of sharing really helpful resources. And I'm very sure the entire pool of participants gonna benefit. Now, in interest of time, so we have a next section which is called as a rapid fire round. So I have a couple of questions for Aparna. So without further delay, let me get started. So Aparna, first would be AI will make data scientists obsolete. Is it a myth or a reality?
I feel not just data scientist, any job it won't make obsolete. It will just elevate
Okay.
their roles, and they will have new tools, new mechanisms. So what would take 5 years might take only 1 year. So it will elevate their job.
Interesting. Okay. AI models you see, are they more like detective or a fortune teller?
Both actually, detective when it comes to learning from the previous data, and fortune teller when it comes to putting that in practice and predicting what happens next.
Okay, couldn't agree more. If AI had a personality, would it be more of a visionary leader or it's a tactical executor?
Technical executor. And
Okay.
the recent shifts will make it a visionary leader, but now at this point of
It
time,
is a
it's yeah.
executor. Okay. What is the biggest misconception you have observed in terms of AI, especially in pharmaceutical industry?
So something I have always observed is that they chase big projects, big dreams. Or I think small wins, quick wins are equally important because it is people. So you can read this in BCG article as well. For AI transformation to happen, it is 70% people. So for you to bring people along with you, you will have to show impact and then onboard them onto your journey, and that is when you can go for the next big things. So
Very
quick
true.
wins are very important, equally
Very true.
important.
And what is one thing in AI that pharma has not done yet, which you think pharma should be doing?
This is difficult one. Integrated solutions. Maybe what we are doing is looking separately in drug discovery, in commercial, but we will be seeing more and more holistic solutions. You should be able to track a molecule right from its design to delivery to how it's doing in market, how is the physician, and maybe engage your physicians early on as well. So that is how I would want to see the entire journey of my drug in an integrated way rather than siloed efforts. Those would also be needed, but we should also integrate at some point of time.
Okay, okay. No, completely agree. One more difficult question on this. So we have learned, right, what pharmaceutical professionals and professional in general would get from AI. But one thing pharma professionals should stop expecting AI to do.
Short maybe, yeah. So it's common across, not just pharma, in any of the. So uh, AI will be as good as human expert. That is still a myth. You would still need guidance. Even AI agents are built by human.
Yep.
So that is a myth. That and also sometimes it being a black box is also a challenge. But I think AI will not be able to make decisions for you. And the other inconvenience that we have to deal with very often is dump any data and you expect AI to do the magic. That doesn't happen. There is a lot of pre-work that goes into making
Sure.
AI work.
Okay. Now, one topic which you speak more often on your LinkedIn as well, one ethical dilemma in AI that keeps you up at night.
Yeah, so actually, it pains me to say this. The way people, so I gave my daughter example, right? We should also be very mindful because she doesn't know. So it also happened that when I was going on my business trip, she was sharing my mom is flying tonight on Emirates and all of it. So she doesn't have that moral sense on what can be shared with AI, what cannot be shared with AI, and it requires adult supervision and also teaching them. So that is something that happened with character.ai. I don't know if you know about this case. The a 17 or some teen actually took to AI and started sharing all of his emotions, and then he got secluded and cut off his family friends, and then finally he took his life. It is an extreme case of AI, but it also shows you the dark side if things are not in place. And character AI couldn't put controls, right controls, and it went on emulating some actor. And actually when he was sharing some deep troubles, it was also encouraging him to do, rather than saying putting right mechanisms in place that you are not supposed to discuss these things, I am not meant to respond to such things. It kept helping. So you can read this actually, character AI.
Oh, okay.
And it is very very sad that I mean it can be, AI can save lives is what we have seen, but it also can take lives if we are not really cognizant and cautious, and
Sure.
we don't put the right mechanisms and controls in
True.
place.
True. I think moral lens would be very much important.
Mm.
Now, common sense is a rare sense, but do you think AI will ever develop common sense?
If you teach, yeah, AI learns based on what you teach. So I
Okay.
hope we don't teach teach it that, but I don't think so. I don't see, so I am very optimistic that it will be able to do, but there will also be laws that we will stop AI from, we can stop AI from getting to that extreme that it takes decision autonomously. If it gets the common
Sure.
sense, then it will take decisions autonomously, right, which is dangerous.
Sure. Now you have covered some aspects of it, but still I would ask if you could fast forward AI innovation in 5 years, what's one thing you expect to see?
As I said, I mean, naturally you will be interacting with AI. Your first thing that you will be going, and people. So there is one common saying, right? People, AI will not replace jobs. AI will replace those jobs who don't use AI, right? So I'm saying it
Okay.
in a very long way, but so you will naturally take to it. I mean, so anything that you need coaching, for example, you are getting into a conversation with your manager, you'll go to AI first rather than a friend, which is, I don't know, which is a good thing or a bad thing, but whenever you don't have access to resources, AI will come to your rescue, and it will transform education, it will transform work, and every sector. I feel it will touch every sector.
Okay. Very interesting.
Mm.
Now, a bit on the leadership part. What's one leadership traits that makes an AI strategy successful?
People, as I said, 70% for AI to be successful, 70% is people. So you have to take people. So large part of my role, 60% of my role is upskilling people, helping them understand the implications, and also how to do it, prompt engineering, starting very small. Like this is something that you could be doing. It sometimes is so revealing for them. Okay, I didn't know that I could be using AI for this. So people is the biggest success metric for AI to be
Sure.
successful as a leader. I would focus more on people. Mm.
Okay. And last but not the least, say if you have to hire an AI talent, would you hire for their skills or for their mindset?
Always mindset, not just for AI. Any point in time, skills can be developed with the right mindset, is what I feel. Mhm.
Okay, very interesting. So that's comes the end of rapid fire round,
Mm.
and you have passed it with flying colors. So congrats, Aparna. Now
Thank
the
you.
forum is open for the questions, and let me take up some of the questions that audience has put it in the chat box. I hope all of you guys are enjoying the conversations with Aparna, and let me take the first question. Um, so I would take this question from Mujib. So many AI models are coming daily. Today I learned Kimi.ai was launched. How pharma companies can decide what to use and what not based on the data privacy concerns, regulatory, etc. AI can also make mistakes. How can we ensure to address that specifically in pharma where we are dealing with patients?
It's a very, very good question, actually. And this is a real dilemma, actually, real industry challenge. So we don't do it. We do it the reverse way. What we do is, what are the pain? This is what I have done in PNO or HR as well. It is common practice, even in R&D commercial, is that we see what are the most what are the needs, what are the pain points of business, and then we distill those pain points and then come to okay, where AI can help. And that is where we select the right tool, right vendor to partner. But it is always business needs first, and then AI is just an enabler. And yes, what was the second question? The second part of the question, Mihir?
It's like AI can make mistakes. How can we ensure to
Yeah.
address that?
So always, so the human in loop. So that is what we have developed a very simple chatbot. I have developed a very simple chatbot, but we always give so vet the resources. We do validation. We also sometimes make a human in loop even in the chatbot. And for any questions that have that we think AI might get confused, we'll give additional resources. So human in loop is the way to go for now, at least. In future it would be AI agents making those decisions for you, and you would train AI agents on different decision points.
Interesting. Okay. Second question I would take from. So, guys, no question is right or wrong, but in interest of time, I would try and cover all those questions which I feel is not already covered in Aparna's presentation, right? And you can definitely reach out to us or Aparna directly in case if you feel your question is not covered and you need more information. So, question from Shruti Shinde: are AI driven tools like ChatGPT, LinkedIn Sales Navigator useful in pharma analytics and consulting, and how accurate they are?
So there are two parts to this. Definitely, they are useful. I don't know about LinkedIn specifically, but any chat based tools are definitely helpful. It is up to you, like Jensen Huang said, right? It is the skill that will be in demand in the next 5 years at least. Is how do you get job done through AI by prompting? So prompt engineering, right? Uh, so the possibility, yes, but then there is a big but, that are you allowed to do that in a legal way, in a data privacy protected way? That is where your organization guidelines, data privacy rules, officers, ethical risk communities comes into place. And enterprise validated tools are the ones that you should be going after. I have a chat gpt plus subscription, but I never use it on my company data. I use Copilot for my company data, and I use ChatGPT for my personal data. So you have to have that demarcations. Companies will follow, but I think with with the pace with which the changes are happening, it is mostly on human companies, human judgment, rather than companies restricting. Those will come, but it will not be very immediate because company can't adopt so quickly to the ever changing landscape.
Okay, okay, very nice. So, Aparna, we have this very common question. So, I would love to highlight that. So, AI has numerous benefits, but what about data authenticity and encryption? This is question by Ashma.
Encryption, as I said, I mean, data encryption, yes, you are sharing. So when you put something on chat gpt, you are sharing you do have a settings where you can say that don't use this for data training the models. Or you could also be doing a temporary chat where your data is not being shared or stored. It is stored only for 30 days only, when it has to be pulled for audit purposes, but not to train the models. So that is the data. So I would always refrain from putting sensitive restricted data on chatbots.
Okay, okay. Uh, Now, question from Dinesh: how can AI model anticipate adverse drug reactions?
So we do have a AI model actually. So in Novartis that does this, but the simple answer is anomaly detection. So there is something called anomaly detection. So adverse drug reaction. So you can train models to identify. So it is again based same. So you can do it through a machine learning model where you just feed enough data. So for any AI model to be really accurate, the more data you feed, the accuracy goes up. So you just feed the data and say, if this is the drug, these are the approved indications, and these are the adverse reactions that we have already noticed, and anything that is not on the label, these side effects, you just trigger an alert. So it is pretty much a classic AI use case, and we have been doing this even before Gen AI. So it can be done through machine learning models as well.
Very nice. So, interesting question from Sankal. What regulatory changes exist for AI adoption in pharma? Regulatory challenges.
Challenges. Okay, it's not just restricted to pharma. Now there is EU AI Act. I don't know. It has been revised in 2024, and US has several state laws. New York City has a city law on AI usage. So if in US it is much more complicated because it is state city laws. So pharma automatically falls in this space also. GDPR guidelines pharma has to abide, but apart from this, there are several other things like the patient data. If you are dealing with patient data, highly sensitive data, that is where the regulations are much more stringent. And for example, I work in HR space, right? We have labor unions, we have work councils which protect employees' rights. So anything that you do with employee data has to go through these work councils, has to go through this legal reviews, declarations, and all of it. And slowly, I think US FDAs and all of this will also come into picture. But currently, it is GDPR, EUA Act, and regular acts that are also applicable for pharma. We don't have anything specifically for pharma, but companies like pharma giants do have their own regulations on what are the spaces we can try and innovate. Where what are the spaces that needs much more elaborate assessment is what companies are proactively doing themselves.
Sure. So I have a lot of questions from Sudhir, but Sudhir, in
Mm.
interest of time, I'm just taking one question which you have asked. When AI adoption is stabilized and when companies start downsizing or cost cutting of AI teams, what will be the future of AI talent force?
There will be, I don't think so adoption will be stabilized. I don't see at least in the next 20-30 years it will be a new set of it is always the case, Mihir. What I feel is if you're not changing or adopting to the new skills, you're always subjected to attrition or any enterprise decisions, and there is nothing like it would stabilize. There is always a new technology coming in, and people who actually learn this new technology will be in demand, and if they lose their job, they'll get it somewhere else as well. I know I'm oversimplifying this, but this question applies even before AI, or it can be generalized is what I feel. Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot to be
Mm.
done, and we have just
Mm.
started, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, last question I'm taking. How AI is helpful in API finding? This is question from Naushad.
So active pharmaceutical ingredient, I feel, because there is also
Yes.
one API where you make application calls actually. So I'm not aware of top of mind of any technology that is readily available. That is not my area of expertise as well. I don't know
Okay.
deeply.
Sure.
But I'm sure there should be some solutions. I can explore and get back. You should go and ask ChatGPT this question actually. What are the recent advancements? And then you do your own research. So the way I do such questions is I go to Perplexity AI and I turn on. And if I'm doing it on ChatGPT, I'll say search. I'll turn on the search, and I can always go and validate the answers. So
Okay. I think I lost Aparna. Is it the case? Vartika or Kalyani, can you confirm?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just turning off the
Okay,
video,
fine.
but
Sure, sure. No worries. So I think here comes the difficult part, which is end of the webinar, but we have to abide by the time. So first of all, thank you, Aparna, for sharing wonderful insights, and it was really phenomenal. You also gave a lot of practical examples for us to follow on and try by ourselves. And thank you, audience, for joining in. This particular webinar is recorded and we will be uploading it on Brick Academy's YouTube channel. So if you want to again listen to it, the recorded version, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we keep on hosting these live webinars and a lot of YouTube podcast as well for you to help in your career journey or to clarify any doubts that you have. So please follow our LinkedIn page as well as the YouTube channel. So with that, I would say a very happy weekend with all of you, and whatever resources that Aparna has mentioned in this webinar will be shared with all of you over an email. So with that,
thank you so much for having me, Mihir,
yeah.
and thank you so much to the audience who have actively participated and brought in so many insightful questions. So you can always connect with me on LinkedIn and continue the discussion. I'm always happy to extend my help and mentor.
Okay. So goodbye. Take good care of yourself, and until we meet again on a similar platform. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful day.
Bye bye.
Bye.